Ashley, I think I see you on here. Ashley?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. My name is Allie. I am the Director of Operations with Indie Design Week. We will get started here in about 3 minutes. We'll just let people keep rolling in. Hi, everybody. If you're just joining us, we will get started here in a couple of minutes. So just hang tight as we let people keep rolling in. Hi, everybody. Just one more minute and we'll get started here. All right, it is 1:45. We can go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. My name is Allie Donovan. I am the Director of Operations with Indie Design Week. Thank you so much for joining us today on our virtual talk with Ashley Vinarsdale Parmenter, the Senior Art Director from Williams Randall Advertising. Thanks for joining us today, Ashley, and presenting. I will just pass it over to you. And guys, there should be a chat box for questions. Just feel free as the presentation is going on to drop your questions and we will answer them here at the end.
All right. Thanks for having me. All right. Is everybody seeing that screen okay?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to be speaking to you today as part of Indie Design Week. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about how some unique web design or functionality that might deviate from the norm or from common practices can help provide unexpected solutions to either strategic challenges, can help create a great experience for users, or help us meet business goals for our clients. So my name is Ashley Van Arsdale Parmenter, or everyone at work calls me AVP. You don't have to memorize that. It's very long. I am a senior art director at Williams Randall Advertising, and I have been with Williams Randall for 4 years. So I am our lead online designer, as well as working on creating overarching campaigns for our clients. If you're not super familiar with Williams Randall, we are a full service agency in downtown Indy. We've been around for 45 years, and we have a great team of account strategists, creatives, analytics specialists, and in-house media buyers. But today we're really focusing on some examples of our custom web development capabilities. Our in-house online team does everything from site architecture to design and content to programming, CMS build out, and custom integrations as well. And at Williams Randall, we use the phrase left brain creativity to describe ourselves. It's really just a shorthand way of talking about our commitment to providing smart, beautiful, and measurable work for our clients. So you can see here in the Venn diagram that left brain creativity occurs when the creative right brain thinking that you expect from an advertising agency is combined with that left brain strategy and analytical insights. And that ensures that the work that we create for our clients is both beautiful and effective. And most importantly, we measure and report on everything that we can, and then use that data to improve the things that we do in the future. So why am I giving you this whole spiel about left brain creativity? Well, this philosophy is extremely applicable when it comes to our online work, where we take all of that those analytics findings, as well as user feedback into consideration when we're creating sites or when we're iterating upon them for continuous improvements. So you'll see this idea of left brain creativity come into play in the examples that we're going to walk through today. So unique web design, why are we talking about this topic? Websites are important. They exist to support business goals. Our clients and we would not invest in them if they didn't work towards our goals. But ultimately, the users are in control of their experience when they come to a site. So when we are designing websites, we're always seeking to find that perfect balance of merging user needs with business goals, all while being mindful of technology. But how do we innovate in web design while keeping best practices in mind? Oftentimes, what makes a good website is following those best practices and using established design patterns that are very familiar for users. So how do we do something new without causing disruption to the user experience? And what might drive the need for us to innovate in the web space? Sometimes there might be a business goal or something specific that we're trying to accomplish that causes us to try something new that might be a departure from the norms. Or maybe we just want to surprise and delight our client, and that might call for something that's a little more out of the box. And this is where that idea of left brain creativity comes back into play. We're not just changing familiar patterns of design just to change them, but we are creating designs that are rooted in strategy and insights while letting that creativity take us to what may be an unexpected solution. So today we're going to cover 3 topics where some challenges or specific goals led us to diverge from those common practices. First, we're going to talk about mobile navigation design. So we use an alternate navigation approach to increase both the findability and discoverability on the site. Findability being how easy it is for the user to find what they're looking for when they are seeking something explicit. Discoverability is more about the users discovering content that maybe they weren't specifically looking for. So to increase discoverability, we use design patterns that support exploration, or we may push out some information to the user that maybe was something that they didn't know existed. Second, we're going to be talking about some site personalization. So we use personalization to create stronger connections between a brand and its customers, increasing that customer engagement. And ultimately, we're trying to improve the user experience by providing them with content that's very relevant to them. And third, today, we're also going to be looking at a dark mode inspired design. So dark mode has become available across more and more sites and tools and platforms. So we explored how we might draw inspiration from that dark mode aesthetic to complement our client's brand palette, and to make them stand out in an industry where a lot of the brands might look similar at times. And this design style also allowed us to stay very true to the client's brand colors while achieving web accessibility standards. So next, we're going to dive into a few work examples of those unique solutions that have helped meet our clients' goals for their websites, starting with mobile navigation design for Ivy Tech Community College. So when it comes to mobile navigation, I'm sure everyone is very familiar with hamburger menus. They're very common practice in web design. I'm sure everyone's also very familiar with site search functionality. That hamburger icon, they're widely used, and that they take up very little real estate on a mobile screen where that real estate is very valuable. And users have become familiar with those. But on the flip side, sometimes hiding that navigation behind an icon can hinder the user experience instead of improving it. Some users will automatically go to that menu to see if what they're looking for is available among the options. Others might gravitate towards a site search if they know exactly what they're looking for. And both are valid ways to navigate a site. However, with our client, Ivy Tech, we found through user research that users were using that search functionality heavily, not as their preferred method of navigating, but really as a last resort because they were unable to find what they were looking for. So when we were in the process of beginning the redesign of the Ivy Tech website, our survey respondents rated the site the absolute lowest on being able to quickly and easily find what you're looking for. And the worst ratings came actually from the prospective student audience, which is the audience that they needed to reach the most. So this is, again, where that idea of left brain creativity comes in. This was a very valuable insight that told us what the biggest challenge was that we needed to solve through the structure and the design of the website. So when Ivy Tech first engaged us to redesign their website, this is what their previous site looked like. They were using that hamburger navigation universally on the site across both desktop and mobile. So while it was critical for us to expose that navigation on desktop so that both the prospective and current student audiences could more easily find what they were looking for, just that overwhelming amount of user feedback we had complaining about how difficult it was to find information really made us want to expose the navigation on the mobile experience as well. However, as you can imagine with a higher education site, their site includes a lot of content. So as you can see with the new navigation and homepage design on desktop, there are a lot of subpages within each of those drop downs from the primary navigation. So we're trying to take all of that information that's included in those primary nav drop downs and find a way to fit all of those subpages into the mobile navigation experience while keeping it very user-friendly and increasing findability. So if we look at the mobile site experience specifically, their existing mobile menu only showed those primary section pages, and users were unable to navigate any deeper within the site. So we set out to find a way to deliver a very robust, exposed navigation on mobile that would increase the findability and discoverability, and not have that content hidden behind a hamburger menu. We drew a lot of inspiration from various mobile app experiences, especially in the e-commerce space, to develop this horizontally scrolling navigation. So the horizontal nav allows the user to scan those primary navigation sections of the site. They can drag that menu bar with their finger and then click to expand those sections like programs to view all of the pages within that section. And then within each section expansion, there are also some accordions that allow the user to further expose the navigation down to the tertiary level pages of the site. So for example, here a user can click the caret next to all academic programs to see the tertiary level pages there, like degrees and certificates, programs by school, etc. And these accordions are also, commonly used within mobile menus, and they tend to work well. However, we avoided using any nested accordions with multiple levels of expansion because those tend to only work best when the users are already very familiar with the structure of the content of the site. And with prospective students as the primary audience here for IB Tech, they just don't have that familiarity. So users can also slide that horizontal nav bar to select another primary section of the site, like admissions, and they can continue exploring without having to close out of that menu or navigate back through any breadcrumbs. So again, with our primary goal in mind of making the content that users were looking for as easy to find as possible, you'll notice that in this admissions expansion, the admissions and enrollment accordion is already open on default to allow scannability of the tertiary level pages there, such as how to apply, which for the prospective student audience could be, content that they are looking for that is very relevant and important to them. So within each of these section menus, we chose to either show or hide that tertiary level of navigation on default based on the content. So again, with us reporting and using our analytics findings on everything, our main goal here was to expose the primary navigation on mobile to allow for more findability. And while the previous site didn't have tracking on the navigation for us to compare to, from our analytics reporting, we saw that the percent of mobile visits that included a site search decreased by 59% following the launch of the new navigation. So this represented a 62% decrease in the volume of site searches on mobile devices year over year after the implementation of that new horizontal nav design. So from this, we can infer that users are able to find the information they're looking for more easily without having to resort to that search functionality. And this is a great, again, left brain creativity, learning and insight that we can continue to build upon in any future site iterations. And in fact, we've had so much great feedback on this navigation approach and success with the approach that we're in the process of executing a similar navigation design and structure for a second website currently. All right. So for our next example today, we're going to talk about a personalized web experience for our client Elements Financial Credit Union. So there's a lot of banking and transactions in general are now taking place online, but there can be a risk of losing the personal touches of customer service. And great customer service is extremely important to our client Elements. They treat their website like a digital branch, and they really want their members to feel like they have that personal connection, are receiving that great customer support. Also, consumers still want to feel like they're getting a personalized experience, whether it's with products and services or offers that are specific to them, even if they're only interacting with your brand online. Personalization as well has been seen to extend site visit time. and create more loyalty. So if a customer sees what they're looking for easily or finds content that's relevant to them, they're more likely to come back. And one way that we can achieve that personalization is through first-party cookies. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Element's business model before we dive into how that personalization played out. But they partner with organizations to offer financial services to those companies' employees. So years ago, when we first redesigned Element's website, we built these personalized sites for their partner organizations in order to help them continue to grow the number of partner companies that they worked with. We then saw that the click to apply rate was higher on these pages versus on the rest of their site. So this was a great left brain creativity insight, again, where we thought about how we could use that personalization to help Elements meet their business goals and how we could expand that personalization across the site for a larger influence. So the way these personalized sites work is that each partner company or organization has their own specialized site within elements.org. So here you can see the example of the personalized site for IU Health that has some special offers that are specific to that organization. There's also a section of contact information for that organization's relationship manager. And those relationship managers are someone that forms a connection with the employees of that partner company, like Curtis here, for example. They might come into the company and offer lunch and learns on financial topics, or there's someone that those employees can reach out to for questions or financial advice. So with these personalized sites, we saw that users who visited the partner's personalized sites during their sessions were more likely to click to apply than the users that didn't. But you have to have a direct link to these partner sites in order to access them. So we wanted to take and make the partner sites more accessible to users and make the whole site feel as personalized as possible. So to create this personalization, we utilized first-party cookies. So those relationship managers for each partner organization will direct people to that personalized site, like the IU Health one, where they receive a first-party cookie. Then when those same users visit the main Elements site, they get a personalized experience here on the homepage. So you can see in the upper right, there's a partner bug that gives them easy access back to that partner site. So you can see the IU Health logo there. And they also have a link there to their relationship manager's contact information again. So we see Curtis again there. And then there are a couple of other areas on the homepage of personalized content. So we have some special offers that are specific to that partner organization, as well as some upcoming events for that partner organization as well. Just to really make that homepage experience feel very personalized and targeted to that individual user. Then this personalized experience also carries through to the product pages on the Elements site. So for example, here, if a user has visited their partner org's site, like IU Health, for example, they've been cookied. They then visit the auto loans product page here. They'll see a custom offer in the hero area that is specific to that organization, like the $500 cash bonus that you see here. They also still have that partner bug in the upper right if they want to get back to their personalized site. And then as they scroll down the page, they have that relationship manager's contact information again. So hi again to Curtis here. So they can reach out to them easily if they have questions about this specific product that they're interested in. And then lastly here, there's also that featured special offer or promotion that is specific to that organization, very similar to what we saw on the homepage. All right, so we found that the users with those partner personalizations are 9% more likely to click to apply than those without the personalizations. Even those users who are members, but maybe we don't know what partner they belong to based on their website behavior. So what this means is that even those general online banking people who have accounts and are very familiar with Elements, they are still applying less than the people who are seeing that personalized version. And that's, again, across both the prospective and current member audiences. So once again, this is a great left brain creativity learning that we can take into account as we continue to improve the Elements site and help them meet their business goals. All right, lastly today, we're going to take a look at a dark mode inspired website design for Cradle Indie. At Williams Randall, we've been very honored to work with multiple clients who are all dedicated to reducing maternal and infant mortality rates in Indiana, such as My Healthy Baby, Mom's Helpline, Goodwill's Nurse Family Partnership, and then here in Indianapolis specifically, Cradle Indie. And we're really proud to be a small part of that mission. However, when you have multiple clients who are all in a similar industry, how do you make sure that they all remain unique and have a distinct brand look and messaging? So the way that we set Cradle apart was through a dark mode inspired design. So before we get into the work, I'm going to talk a little bit about dark mode. Dark mode in itself isn't new, but it's become more popular aesthetically in UX and UI design. Lots of brands use dark mode inspired color palettes like Spotify, Apple, SNL, and Pepsi, to name a few. Dark mode inspired design for web typically includes a dimmer background color and brighter foreground colors. So we're using that darker background more heavily, while the lighter colors are used more sparingly as accents. And there are a lot of reasons why people like dark mode and use it, such as legibility, reducing eye strain, as well as having their device tailored to a low light environment. But for us, it really came down to both accessibility and branding. So if you think of baby brands typically as being very light and pastel, which Cradle's brand is, but to make the colors be highly accessible, we took an unexpected approach by making the website's background color navy. So you can see in the example here how their brand colors appear on the white background versus the darker background. On the white background, the light blue, yellow, and purple do not pass accessibility color contrast ratios. While on the navy background, all of their primary brand colors do pass. And it's very important for us with all the sites that we are designing that we are meeting at least that AA, if not AAA level of color contrast for accessibility standards. And in fact, we are constantly checking those contrast levels while we're in the process of designing sites. This also was a choice based on branding. So branding wise, the content of the site is a more serious subject matter with Cradle's mission to reduce maternal and infant mortality in Indianapolis. So that darker navy tone also relates to the content and messaging of their site. So this is a in progress design for Cradle Indie. So the site is not live yet. And today we're going to be looking at the homepage. One thing I just want to call out at the top of the page here is another just slightly different navigation approach where we have 3 categories with exposed subpages. So we chose to expose all of the main pages of this small site and not have those in drop downs. Just again here, similar to Ivy Tech, to maximize the scannability of the site's content so that users of all types would easily be able to see what content is available on the site. And then as we look at the design of the homepage, you can see how that dark navy background allows the brand colors to really stand out and create that high level of color contrast for accessibility purposes, as well as just giving them a distinct look for their brand. So we've also, you'll notice, used a lighter color background for some parts of the site where there might be some more complex information or functionality. So You can see these categories of information here where there's more content on screen to read. There's also a filterable page of this content with articles that are related to all of these categories. And that page background similarly is light to really allow for greater legibility when there's large amounts of copy. So we've strategically used that dark background throughout the site for that accessibility and to create that distinct brand look. But we're bringing in that lighter background wherever it's necessary for readability, just always keeping the user experience and accessibility both top of mind with each page or even each stratum within the page. So we don't have any data on this site yet as it's still in progress, but we can say that the client has been very pleased with the brand look that we've established and the use of that dark background throughout the site. All right, so just kind of in summary of what we've talked about today, whether it's taking a new approach to navigation, being innovative in personalization techniques, or using a unique design palette, we're always just striving to surprise and delight our clients and users in everything that we do. The web space, as we know, is one that is constantly evolving. And it's our job as designers to, stay on top of those best practices, find ways that we can diverge or innovate to solve those unique challenges, and always just be keeping user expectations and experience top of mind. Great. Well, thank you again for attending today. I hope you've learned something new that you can apply in your own work. I'm happy to answer any questions about the topics that we've covered today, or the work examples that we've walked through as well.
Thank you, Ashley. As a reminder, guys, plug your questions into the Q&A and we will get them answered. All right. Ashley, are you able to see that on your end?
Yes.
Okay, great.
It was a pretty long research process with Ivy Tech. There were a few different research techniques that we've used. So we did a survey on the previous site with like a pop-up overlay. We also did some specific user interviews with both prospective and current student audiences, where we would have them try to complete a task on the site, and have them just kind of walk through their thought process as they were attempting to navigate and find that information. We've also, not specific to the Ivy Tech website, but a lot of times we will also hold focus groups of research more for like concept testing as well. In terms of length, though, I would say that that was a solid few months probably worth of research for Ivy Tech specifically. Analytics tools, we do use Google Analytics. We have a whole analytics team, and that's not my specialty here, but we do create dashboards for our clients where we are pulling in different analytics metrics for them, so they always have access to those most recent and updated data and figures on how well their either campaigns or sites are performing. So definitely Google Analytics, as well as Looker Studio. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ashley, I'm going to jump into, I don't think they can hear your, or they can't see the chat. So if you could read the question too.
Okay. Yeah, that question was about the analytics tools that we use to track website metrics. So the question, with the dark mode approach, have we found any unique struggles or pushback? So we haven't had pushback from the client at all on that. They've really liked that approach for their brand. Um, in terms of unique struggles, kind of what I talked about with like the different areas of content where there might be more complex information or functionality. We've had to kind of adjust and go to lighter backgrounds in certain areas, just where there might be so much information on screen that it might become less legible or harder to take in on a dark background. So that's just something that we're balancing as we go throughout the site design. I would say we had more unique struggles with trying to make their brand color palette work on a light background, where we were having to darken down those brand colors so much to pass the accessibility color contrast ratios that those colors then no longer even looked, anywhere near their brand palette. And just gave it a completely different look. So really the dark background has allowed us a solve for that issue that we were facing. Another question, what are the most popular platforms that you use to build websites? So we have in-house developers. So they are custom developing all of our sites primarily. We typically like to use Umbraco as our content management system platform. And that just is a CMS tool that we've found that's been very useful, very user friendly over a period of time to allow our clients then to go in and edit the content within their site after we have developed it. So that's one that we've used. We've also played around a little bit with exploring tools like Wix or Squarespace as options for those clients that might have more limited budget and can't afford, the fully custom developed product. So that's something that we've tried out a little bit with those, smaller budget sites.
Any other questions? As we wait for any last questions, I will do a quick plug. Thank you so much for joining today. Today we have our first draft showcase tonight, and it is at the Speakeasy in Broad Ripple. And so you can listen to a fashion designer, more specifically a wedding dress designer, the artist of the Indy 11 logo, and an interior designer talk about their first drafts that they showed to a client. So feel free to join us tonight at the Speakeasy. And it looks like we do have another question here.
Yeah. So the question is, do you have any tips for passing along designs to a development team, especially when they have layouts that may deviate from a regular website? So like I said, with our in-house developers and then us designing sites in-house as well, we work really closely together from design to programming. But in terms of tips that I would have from the design perspective, it's just if you have things that are like, you think this section of a site is going to have a unique look or maybe a specific functionality that you have in mind, or maybe even like some added little pluses like some scroll animations, or any little fun like surprise and delight again elements that you're trying to add. I would just say making like a list of those sections or elements up front that you can then pass along to that programmer or developer, so that they kind of have all of those ideas that you have in your mind in front of them as they are diving into the programming of the site. And then specifically, as part of our process at Williams Randall, we do a QA or quality assurance process. So when our developers are finished with the development or programming of the site, our designers and our strategists as well then go through that site design while it's in QA and review the whole site. And we have make a giant spreadsheet if we need to, where we call out individual edits or things that are maybe not quite matching the design, or the functionality is we want to change a little bit differently now that we're seeing it live and in action. So that really helps us as a team collaborate on the end result of that website and make sure that we are ironing out any small issues before that ever goes to the client.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you, Ashley, for your time today. This is recorded, guys, so we will send it out to you afterwards. Again, first draft showcase tonight at the Speakeasy at 6 p.m. Hope to see you there. And follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook for more event details. But thank you guys for joining. Have a great day. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you so much.